All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning and hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I'm doing great. Yourself?
Doing good, doing good. All right, guys, let's get into it. We have a pretty nice gappers list this morning. We have a lot going on here, gapping down today. Let me just make sure this is live. Yeah, this is live. So, and then this one as well. Okay, good. Yeah, so again, pretty decent list for a Friday. We'll look into what we have here. I see some good names on there. Baba, we have SRNE. We have some other ones that have been pretty active, FSLY as well. So we'll take a look at what's happening there. Yesterday, let's look quickly at what we had in our top place and highlights. Yesterday, we had it was an interesting day. There was not a lot that ran great right off the open. You did get some good scalping opportunities, but aside from that, there were some stocks that just, again, were more choppier than usual is probably the best way to put it. So let's take a look at American Airlines, one that we had on the list here. I just want to zoom in on this one right over here. So again, beautiful breakdown. You did get a nice VWAP reversal here, guys, after it found some support, and then it continued to grind higher. But again, not the cleanest start on the stock that we were watching here. UAL had a very similar situation as well. Nice breakdown here, and then found a much cleaner VWAP reversal on this one. And interesting, guys, very important. When you start seeing this breakdown, and we get this type of action quite a bit, when you start getting this breakdown and you see that the next few candles cannot make a new low or a new high, is usually a good indication that things want to head the other way, right? So we see that quite a bit, especially at the open. We saw yesterday with American Airlines, United, FSLY had the opposite, right? Nice big pop, $4 candle here, by the way. It's going from 90 all the way up to 94. So $4 pop right at the open. Then the next candle kind of hangs a little bit here, cannot get near the high right there. The next one does the same thing, cannot get any higher than the previous one, and then you get this crazy drop down here, all the way down to the previous day, to the low of the pre-market at that point. So again, very wild action for FSLY. It does settle down a little bit later. It becomes a beautiful, more of a triple bottom here, reversal. You can see it here winding down. Did not want to lose this level that we had here at 86. That became very important for it. And you can see how it held nicely, hits the VWAP, and then goes almost towards the high, not of the day, but the high of the pre-market areas in this level here. So pretty good there. WDC was an amazing short, guys, on the 5-minute opening range breakdown. Now, this looks very extended, but what I liked about this one is that look at the pullback you're getting. This is a deep pullback right to the VWAP. So on something like that, although it got very extended, if you get a pullback like this on the way back down, you still got a pretty decent risk to reward. But again, usually when you get this pullback, you want to be careful. This drop, you want to be careful because the pullback might be an actual reversal. So just be cautious with that. But again, this one continues to drop nicely. We like this one in the pre-market. We also like the daily on this one, and it turned out to be one of the better stocks with some pretty good continuation. And then look around 10, 11 o'clock, the great support that it finds here becomes a good reversal play there as well off that level. Roku as well was not the greatest. At the first hour seemed to be very choppy, then settled down, give us a beautiful drop here as well, but overall very tough here at the open. CCL, same situation, guys, very tough trade at the open, then settles down, gives you a beautiful pop above the VWAP. And we also had AMD, and we'll take a look at that one. Also, again, did not trade all that clean at the open. And again, just looking at the 5-minute chart right now, if you look at the 1 minute, you can see some opportunities if you want to scalp on it. But again, the 5-minute, you can see it was very choppy in here until you finally got this beautiful run all the way from 85 to 80, 86, 87, almost a $2 move there. All right, let's get over to the market pulse, guys. I know we have some numbers that just came out. Norm will fill us in on that now.
Yeah, so overnight futures for the SPY and all the indices have been down, let's call it about 1/3%, and just kind of held there. That was on news about President Trump signing executive order against a couple of Chinese companies, TikTok being one of them, the ByteDance, which owns TikTok, and increased issues there, along with a little bit of a stalemate in the next stimulus. In reality, everybody is kind of waiting to see what happened with this employment number that came out just a few minutes ago. So the payrolls were up by 1.763 million. That was compared to an estimate. Now, I say an estimate because this is an average of numbers that were all over the place, of like 1.4 million. So substantially better. Also, the unemployment rate, I believe, dropped to 10.2 versus something like a 10.6 expected. So that came in better than expected also. It's slowing down from the June number, but everybody was anticipating that there were over 4 million jobs added in June as people rushed back to work, and that'll slow down a little bit as it turns more into a trickle than it just open the floodgates kind of thing. So overall, that took the market from negative into green territory, and then we pulled back just a little bit. So we'll see. Interesting day. Looks like things are mostly flat. Real estate sector's down the most out of what I'm seeing. Communication services as well down a decent amount. Tech is somewhat flat. It's down 0.2%, and consumer discretionary down 0.4. So that's a little bit of what's going on in the market this morning.
All right, excellent. Okay, guys, let's get to our gappers list this morning. Again, we have quite a bit here on both sides today, and getting bigger as the time is moving forward here. Let's start with what's gapping up today. ANPC right now, not a great pre-market action. At the moment, you got 2.1 million shares traded, but just look at this daily overall. It's just very nasty here. And again, just the pre-market right now, really all over the place. 2.3 million shares float. So we're just gonna move on from this one. GRPN, this is 24 million shares as well. Not the great pre-market action. Also, the daily looks a lot better than the one we just looked at. But for the most part, pre-market's not looking all that great this morning. So again, better daily on here. But not a whole lot going on in the pre-market right now.
They had earnings last night and knocked it out of the park compared to estimates, so that's why Groupon's up so much.
Oh, this is Groupon. Yeah, we traded this before actually. It's not the cleanest trading stock, but you know what? That's a pretty good, decent catalyst. Let's keep it on here, see if it gets any better than what it is right now.
It's not where we throw it in the low float bucket per se, because it's 24 million, not under 20, but it is a relatively low-ish float. Just a heads up there.
Yeah, guys. I mean, if you look at the range on here, some of these candles are pretty big as far as dollar amount. So we still want to be careful with the range and how this can move. Again, it's not doing much right now pre-market. But at the open, that can definitely change. Let's look at Z. So Z this morning up nicely, 13%, 126,000. Great daily here, though. Nice, beautiful breakout off this daily of 72. You can see this thing has been doing pretty well over the last couple of months. Right now, they got a nice big gap. Looks like earnings last night after hours, Norm?
Yeah, they had earnings last night, and they beat expectations.
All right, so let's keep it on here. I'm on the fence on this one. Typically not the type of pre-market action that we like to see here. It looks pretty quiet right now. Let's see if it gets better. BIIB, this one is up 12%. We have traded in the past. I see we have some levels here already. I'm going to remove these as far as we have. And let's talk about levels a little bit, because we get the question a lot. I get emails a lot on about, what are the levels I have in my chart. So class number 2, guys, is going to go through all of these levels that we have here. But really quickly, these are the levels that are automatically marked in our Dash Trader platform. So we have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So you see these 2 red lines for anybody joining us new. These are the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, right? So it's going to mark the high and low of this day and the high and low of this day here. These 2 are important because when you have action around these levels, you're going to see a lot of increase in volume, a lot of momentum possibilities, a lot of reversals possibilities, breakout possibilities. So that creates a lot of opportunities for us. The dotted line here, guys, is our previous day close line. You can also see the exact previous day close price right up here in our montage. It's going to be 277, in this case 66, right? So right on there you can see the previous day close. Again, the montage is going to give you those exact numbers. You can also see the highs and lows exact numbers. For example, I'll give you this one, 284, and you also have it looks like 312. You can see those numbers right in here in the montage as well. So if you quickly want to look at what the range is for the day, you're going to have that here right next to the ticker, right? And then we have our moving averages starting from the 9, the 20, the 50, and the 200. Obviously, whatever's closer to the price action, and you can quickly tell if you zoom out here, you can quickly tell which is the 200. Obviously, the slow moving one here is the 200. The one closest to the price action is the 9, the 20, and the 50. So again, we go into details about all these levels and why they're so important, and we have some good examples in our class number 2. So if you're part of the community, make sure you take a look at that class there. On this one here, guys, again, nice big pop. Norm, what kind of news do we have today on this one? Is there anything worth keeping on our list?
Which one is that?
BIIB.
Yeah, there's some positive action on an Alzheimer's drug that they have with the FDA. So that's what's popping them this morning.
All right, they got a nice big pop here. I'm concerned here with the ATR on this one. This could move quite a bit. As you can see here, some of these candles are really pretty big here. I mean, we're going from 306 on some of these all the way to 311. So that's a big move. Pre-market action not as clean, and the volume, guys, so important. You need to have volume. For the most part, this stock moves with very low volume at a very high price. That could signifies a lot of a bigger spread than usual at the open. So again, I'm not a fan of this one. I do like the pop on it. Got some catalyst behind it. I'll put it as a possible, but most likely not even going to stay there the way I'm seeing the volume here on a regular daily basis. Let's take a look at VXRT. This one has been on our list quite a bit, guys. It's been very active at the moment. It's been having a little couple of choppy days here. We're not getting the great moves that we had before on here. We had some pretty good opportunities on this one back in late June, early July. So right now our pre-market action is a little bit all over the place. We have 312, but look how this 312 has been forming. We're not getting a great flow of pre-market action right now. And what I'm talking about, pre-market price action, right? So not the greatest at the moment. Could be a possible, because I know VXRT has had some explosive days. I'm not sure today's going to be that situation. We do have a great support on the daily here. And from what we know, I don't think there's any significant news right now on this one. Let's look at KNDI. This is the one that I thought this was a low flow, but it's 38 million shares flow on this one, right? I know we have some pretty sick movement.
Mid float.
So we have some pretty crazy movement on this. Again, it's 38 million, but you still want to be cautious. This thing could move quite a bit on you. Yesterday did pretty good. I actually had a great trading day here. No pre-market action, but if you could see at the intraday at the open, it did trend nicely here. Beautiful uptrend. This morning, possible continuation. You got some volume already, but a horrible pre-market action right now. That could change. The stock, as you know, can get great volume when it is in play. The last, since what's this, late July, excuse me, you have had a huge pop here on the daily and some good volume. So maybe it's ready to break out here again and head towards the top. I am going to add it. We'll add this one on here. We'll just remind you guys that this is going to be one you have to be really careful with. WKHS. This was another one that was also been very choppy. Had a couple of days where it was really good about a week or so ago. Today, their pre-market action 146 at the moment. I am not seeing a great movement right now as far as price action, just kind of moving sideways a bit. We did get some actions last night, Norm, on this one. Did we get any kind of earnings play or news breakout on it?
Caught me off guard there, buddy. Sorry. I was looking at a different stock. I really don't see anything fresh on this as of this morning. It looks like, Workhorse Candy, both in the EV business. So that might be something along those lines, news on something else I haven't quite seen yet. So that's what's going on. If somebody knows something specific, throw it out there.
Okay, you got it. We'll keep it as a possible right now. I know this one can be fun to watch, man. It has done some pretty good stuff in the past, and today it looks like we had some action last night happening here an hour and a half after hours, after market close. So we'll see if that means anything for this morning's open. SPAQ. Now on this stock, I had an amazing day. So this is a special stock for me. It's garbage stock. Does not trading well right now. But we had a pretty good trading on this drop here. We had an amazing short on this day here. Probably, I think I mentioned to you guys, it's one of the biggest days of my trading career. So again, that was an amazing opportunity there. Again, sometimes you catch these breaks, right? That doesn't really happen. It doesn't happen every day, but sometimes you get these breaks where things just run, and if you're in the right situation, you can take advantage of it. Right now, guys, horrible pre-market action. It's just going sideways. The last couple of days has not really done much anyways for the most part. So I'm not sure if I'm even going to add this as a possible right now. If it gets better, we can put it on here. But right now, the pre-market action is not great at all. All right, let's take a look at Plug. Again, you guys know how I feel about Plug. It just doesn't trade well for me. It's very difficult to read the price action, and it's very choppy. Yesterday was the opposite of that, but for the most part, this is a stock that doesn't trade very well. But yesterday, look at it here, great pre-market action, and it did carry over into this first 10-15 minutes of the market open, right? Look at this beautiful high of day breakout. We talk about these high of day breakouts, how important they are, and you can see that amazing pop there that it did get. So for the most part, it traded well. It did get choppy between it looks like 10 o'clock or so, all the way to 11 before it started moving again. I'm not a fan of this one, guys, but I'm gonna put it here. I'll give some levels for everyone, but most likely not gonna watch it myself. What else do we have? Let's take a look at I think that's all for the gapping up list. Let's see what's gapping down today. Let's start with AYX right now. So AYX, nice drop here, 21%. So they got a big drop this morning. What kind of ticker is this? Let's bring in our header here, actually. Here we go. What kind of company is this?
It's a tech company.
It's a tech company? Okay.
Yeah. They had earnings last night. I don't have details on their earnings, but obviously not as good as people wanted, right?
Yep, not good at all. So again, big drop here, guys, on earnings. They're down 21%, 180 right now as far as volume. So again, I like when companies drop this much because it can create an opportunity one way or the other. Now and I remember Brian always. Yeah, see that as well. I remember Brian was telling us that, around 20%, 25%, you want to be careful of a continuation play. That's a very big drop already. And usually stocks like this, not saying it's going to happen on this one because we never know, can really start to bounce back and close this gap, right? So around 20, 25%, you want to be careful if something drops that much. Obviously, not a rule that happens all the time, but something to be on the lookout for. So with that said, I love this drop here, but the spread, guys, is not great at all. We've seen it move quite a bit here so far this morning. So I'm going to put it as a possible. If the volume comes in and the spread gets better, maybe can give us some good opportunities. But just be mindful. This thing is down quite a bit today. So don't have a short bias thinking this thing is going to continue to run. And then also look at where it's stopping. You have a stop right here, right where you have an area of resistance and somewhat of support. You have several wicks down here, but coming back up. This one actually opening on that same level at 133.15. This is where it could be finding some support. So just be aware of that. All right, let's take a look at CAPR. This is a low flow stock sitting at 13.8. Right now, they're down 17%, 156,000. Not a great pre-market action on this one. So I'll put it down here for the low flow teams. The best low flow we've seen so far this morning. But again, not looking all that great. Let's look at ADTX. Horrible daily as well. Had some good volume yesterday out of nowhere, going from $4 and gapping up here. Nice run to 950. Now it's down 11.8. We do not have shares for short on this one, and this is sitting at 1 million shares flow. So I'm not even going to add this one on there. Let's move on to D-Dog. So D-Dog here, this one, nice daily. I like what I'm seeing here. Pre-market action is not looking all that great, but the daily looks good, guys. If you take a close look here, you see the great support that we have here. Our price action is sitting right on there today. Norm, any news on this one? Oh, yep. Yeah, it's got to be.
They had earnings last night. They had earnings last night. They beat their earnings. The problem is they beat their earnings. But here, this has kind of repeated itself time and time again. It's not too surprising. If you come back on the daily just a little bit, show to like the beginning of the year, that's enough right there. Yep. You can see this was a $25 stock. $28 stock, right around 30. It went up to 100. So it's, between tripled and quadrupled in the last few months. Unless you just have unbelievable results that beat every expectation, it's not too crazy to think that some people are getting out of it on that news and, taking their 3 or 4-fold profits, putting them in the pocket and walking away trying to find something better.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at some point, the ceiling to go higher comes down a little bit on you here. Not saying that it's going to be a bad stock, but if you don't have no more room to run here based on the news, you might want to cash in a little bit there. So again, I love what I'm seeing here on the daily, guys. We're sitting at some great area of support as well. We have found support right with this price action. It's now down 7%, 197,000 right now. Pre-market action is not great, but typically this stock doesn't have a great pre-market action anyway. It's a little bit lighter on the volume for the most part on the intraday, but it's worth watching this morning. All right, let's take a look at DBX. Now, I remember DBX's Dropbox when it first came out. We had some pretty good trades on that day when it IPO'd. Right now, it's a tough stock to trade, guys. Does not trade very well. I'll tell you that much. It's very choppy. It reminds me of this QCOM type stock where, again, unless there's some significant news, and you can see it right here on the daily too, how choppy this is. It is just not a great trading stock. Well,
I mean, they did have earnings last night. This is once again, and it wasn't quite the move that we were talking about on D-Dog, but it has doubled. They had earnings that were in line with estimates, probably just not good enough.
Yeah.
One of those things.
So again, this one here, guys, also down. Pre-market action, not as great. Again, I based on looking at the stock quite a bit, I don't like the way it trades. I'm going to put it as a possible. Today could be the difference because they do have earnings, so that could create some opportunities. But overall, this stock doesn't trade very clean. Let's take a look at TWLO, one that we have traded before in the past. Right now, they're down 4.5 with some decent volume here. Again, this one it's not bad. It has a pretty no, not a great spread. You can see this not that great right now. Pretty decent pre-market action. We have a somewhat okay daily, little lighter on the volume. Norm, I know this one you have looked at before quite a bit. How do you feel about this stock, and what do you think on it, and what's the news?
They've got a secondary, I believe. They can be very difficult to trade. So it's not that I won't trade Twilio, but I would watch the action carefully and really analyze it before I hopped into a trade on it.
Yeah. I remember you had a couple of trades on it, but I also remember you saying how tough it is to trade. I have never traded this one, but again, it is active this morning. We'll put it as a possible and see what happens in a few minutes. FSLY, again, this thing was crazy yesterday, guys. It had an insane pop and an insane drop. If you missed it early this morning, we start every day Monday through Friday at 8:30. But if you missed it in the pre-market here, guys, look at the action yesterday. This thing went from had a pop of about almost $5 here, then drops down from 91 all the way on the second 5 minutes candle here, or third, whatever, to 87, and then another drop. So again, it can move quite a bit. It does smooth out a little bit later. You can see how beautiful this thing trades, finding some good support here, but you got to be careful on this. So again, that was on a big gap down today. They're barely holding on to the low of yesterday. Also a great area of resistance and prior support here. So that daily looks interesting to me. Pre-market action, not so great right now, but you know that this stock tends to have a bad pre-market action and still put in a good trading day. So hopefully it's not as wild as it was yesterday and we can take some opportunities on it. But I really like the daily here. Are we going to lose this level of support here, or are we going to bounce off of that? Will be the question here. Let's take a look at Uber. Uber, when it's in play, trades very well, guys. Trades very clean. The last couple of days, you have some pretty good, nice green bars here, right? So we're kind of getting a little bit of a pullback here, down 3.2 this morning. Looks like we had some action after hours at Norma on this one.
Yeah, they had earnings last night. They had a little bit wider loss than expected, but once again, it was kind of a throwing a dart at a board kind of deal. So they're down a little bit. I mean, this is travel related. Their Eats business was way up, but their margins there, their margins there are no bueno. So their ride sharing is really what it's been the big part of the business, and that's suffered tremendously through COVID. So we'll see. We'll see how it does. It fluctuated all over the place after they released earnings last night.
Yeah, I see that. We got, again, a nice pop and then a huge drop and then right back up. So again, not a whole lot of determination what it wants to do today. So, but I like this one, guys. It can trade very well. I'm going to add it here as a main on our main watch list right now. We've got some good volume, 457. Now it is a nicey stock. Their pre-market action, as you know, is not as great, it's not as clean, but we do got some good value for it being a nicey stock this morning. So let's take a look at just a few more. Actually, we're done with the gapping down list. We have Baba next, which is down nicely this morning, 3.2. And we have JD also, which is down. And these two tend to move together quite a bit. JD hasn't been trading all that well lately. It used to about a year ago. We used to trade JD and Baba all the time. And then it just became a little bit choppy, and we have not found some good opportunities on it. Baba, on the other hand, has been trading a lot better than JD on its own. So we have been seeing that. Any news on both of these? I think you had mentioned earlier something about China.
Yeah, I'm gonna preface this with I detest trading these stocks, but that having been said, some people do like to trade them, Baba especially. I'd rather beat my head against a wall. But this is on Trump signing an executive order against some Chinese entities last night. So.
Yep. So we are going to keep Baba. I think Baba has a better pre-market action. Again, JD looks horrible, but I am with you. I don't like Baba. I don't like to trade it. But JD, I have traded before in the past when it was active. It hasn't been trading well. I think this whole year has not been trading well. Maybe had a couple of days, but overall, I remember there was I think it was last year where we were trading Baba and JD on a regular basis. So I don't like JD right now. This is
maybe
great.
you were.
What was that?
I said maybe you were.
Yeah, man.
Don't put me in the
And
lead.
Andrew had it on his
Yeah,
list.
okay,
It was
fair
like the
enough.
J. It
Yeah,
was like the CCL of Andrew at one point. He had it on his list
fair
every day
enough.
with AMD and MU and all that good
Or They
stuff.
were they were they were really volatile when we were going through all the trade war stuff. Remember that?
Yes. I think that was the time frame. Yeah. Again, it's crazy how we
Feels
go
like
through these
feels like
this
years ago,
yeah, we go through these
decades.
different seasons where something is active for a while, whatever news, certain stocks are moving, and now it's obviously COVID, everything's moving there. The travel stocks had their piece of the pie a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago. So again, it's just crazy how things shift from one side to the other. All right, guys, I think we have an okay list, not better than yesterday. Yesterday we had a much better list. Today is a little bit more on the okay side. It is Friday, so we'll see if things get better in the pre-market open. There's always something to trade, but the key thing today is going to be not to force anything, because I'm not seeing anything that looks all that great that I'm in love with right now. But let's come back after the community. Actually, no, wait. Let me ask you what you have, Norm.
I'll just point out, take a look at RKT. It IPO'd yesterday.
RKT. Okay.
Yeah, right. This is the company that holds Rocket Mortgage. They
Oh yeah.
IPO'd yesterday, and they had a really strong day. I know a few people in the room traded this. You know, I'll preface these IPOs with, these are not for everybody. That's why we don't talk about them a ton in the room, like specifically on the day that they come out.
Right.
But Peter watches IPOs pretty carefully, and he posts which ones are coming out. But there's a reason we don't dig in too much, and especially newer traders, these can be tough, tough to read, tough to trade. So, but this one was strong yesterday, and it's got good volume this morning.
It is moving rather well. Give me that ticker again. RKT.
Yeah, you had it.
Yeah. Yep, right on here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I agree with you. And actually, speaking about IPOs, I know Peter is putting together a success webinar on IPOs and how he trades them and his criteria. He has a great criteria on what makes a good IPO trade. So looking forward to that. It's going to be, I believe, in September. He's going to have that webinar for us. So looking forward to that. Anything else aside from this one you like, Norm, today?
Go to the room. I've got a
Yeah.
few. I'm really just watching what's up on the list already. So.
Got it. Let's start with PP. He has American Airlines here. American Airlines this morning. What is going on with them? They had a nice run yesterday. A bit of a flat day. Didn't do much on this one here. So right now, pre-market actions got some great volume. 1.3 million shares traded at the moment. I just wonder, do they have enough juice to break out of this area of resistance? It's getting very congested here, guys. This previous day close line and the high from yesterday, you could see that's been a struggle area for American Airlines. And a lot of the airlines, if you look at United, you have the same situation there as well. They dip down. United dips down to about 30 every time, goes down to 30, and then finds support, but cannot get above this 35. 35 is a very tough area for United to get out of. So we're sitting at 34.15. Is it going to trade nice within this range? Yesterday was very similar to American Airlines. You had a nice drop and a nice pop, but again, it wasn't as clean. If you were looking at the price action, we're looking at American Airlines and United, and it just wasn't all that clean to take an opportunity on the way we trade. So do they have enough juice to break out of this, right? CCL, American Airlines is in the same situation. I can put it here as a possible, but for the most part, I'm not sure they're going to be on the choppier side today. Facebook, big jump all time. Let's see what Moose Driver is giving us here. Facebook, yeah, big day yesterday on Facebook, guys. You can see here, again, just ripping nicely. Right now, pre-market action sitting at pretty much flat at the moment. Volume is okay on it. We can get some kind of continuation today. I'm just not sure which way it's going to go here. So I'm on the fence on it, but it could be a good one to put on the scanners. I'm sure somebody in the chat room will be watching this one. If you see something great, please point it out. But it'll be interesting to see what this Friday is going to bring for Facebook. Are we going to get a continuation here? Does it have the juice, or are we coming back down? Again, big day yesterday, guys. Hopefully you took advantage of this one. I know there's some traders that watch specifically these stocks on a regular basis, like Facebook, Apple, Nvidia. No, remember you had your top four at one point, and those top four were hot, and you kept them on your list the entire time, and that created some good stuff there. All right, so let's look at ROM 30. It's giving us True. Let's take a look at what True looks like here. True right now. I don't like the pre-market action at the moment. Lower price stock sitting more of a stock trading under $5 again. I don't like the action on this one. Volume is very light as well. So for me personally, I'm going to skip on it this morning. It is up 38%, but again, just not my style or one that I like. What I like, I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now on this one. DKNG DraftKings again has been choppy, guys. So pre-market action right now not great. We've seen better out of DraftKings. I do like the daily, so I see what you're looking at here. Possible breakout. You do have some areas you could test here. Moving averages is every here around 35.69 is good as well. But I think I'm going to pass on this one for today. If it gets better, we'll look at it to come up in our scanners. All right, a few more TMUS, T-Mobile. These companies, guys, T-Mobile, Verizon, what's the other one? AT&T. This one looks like it had earnings last night, so today might be a difference maker when it comes to actual opportunities, but they just don't trade well. They do not trade well at all. They're very choppy, very difficult to read the price action. Even when they had all this merge talk, remember that, Norman? They had all this merge talk about possibly doing something, and they all traded horrible, even with great volume. So
yeah, they took over Sprint, but they traded pretty well at that point. They had earnings last night, up in the air. We'll see if it trades well.
Yeah, we'll see if it does something here. Again, nice gap of 4.6 for this type of company is big because they don't move a lot. Man, we have quite a lot this morning, so it's okay. A lot of stuff here doesn't look great. We're gonna slice and dice this thing nicely today. All right, let me go over to YouTube, see what we have there. Ben is giving. Let's start with Ben. He's giving us Neo this morning. What has Neo been up to right now? So pre-market action 1.7, but man, this 1.7 is just not trading all that great. Look how choppy this thing is here. So Neo is known for having an incredible volume, guys. If you look down here on a regular basis, they're doing 163 million shares traded. On the big days, they're doing about 500 million. That's a lot of volume. So when I see 1.8 in the pre-market, I'm not really going crazy over it because I know that's typical Neo stuff for these guys. Does not mean that they're going to have an incredible day. They might just be very choppy. The last couple of days, their daily has been just kind of stuck between this 1450 and 14. Yesterday, you did get a beautiful drop here. Looks like it sold off pretty nice. Today, a possible continuation maybe on Neo. But again, I'm just going to keep this one off for now. If it hits our scanners, I can tune into it. I'll be looking for a turbo breakout and turbo breakdown because this one, it hits so much volume that it's always on those scanners if it's moving in one direction pretty aggressive. T-Mobile, we have Jay. He's watching Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, and PayPal. All of those are good names. Just gonna pick a few of these. Let's look at Apple right now. Apple, again, very similar to what Facebook is doing. Had a big day yesterday, pulling back a little bit here. Let's look at Microsoft. So all of these, I think, are gonna be some fundamental ones to watch this morning. Again, these are the giant companies that are moving things here. Microsoft, big day yesterday as well, very similar to what Facebook and Apple did. Today pulling back a little bit. So they're all very similar. I think they're going to fall under that boat that we need to see what kind of direction they're going to have today. Are they going to move up or down or just chop around on this Friday? So I'm not going to add any of these. I do have Facebook already on here. Did I add Facebook? Yeah. Let me add Facebook here because that one look good as possible, and then we'll see what we can get there. All right, guys. Two more. AMD and Roku. AMD, man, continues to just rip here. Didn't have the best opening trade yesterday, but just look at this daily, what you're getting here. Just kind of pushing up against this 86. We are sitting at all-time highs here, and this stock just continues to consolidate and break out, So that could happen today as well. Good volume, 438. I'm gonna look out for Peter to call anything out because I know Peter's gonna be watching it on his watch list. So I'll look out if he sees anything great, any call outs opportunity. I'll look at that. And then Roku, our buddy again, pretty quiet right now, not doing much. Their daily after this drop here is back to this area where we're struggling to break out of. So again, big, nice, clean day for them yesterday here. Couldn't get above the VWAP. Nice, beautiful drop. Broke the low of the day. So again, good opportunities. I wish I would have been watching it. That's a great trade there, but unfortunately I wasn't. So all right, we got quite a bit here, guys. Let's go over to the community announcements, and we'll come back and fine-tune this list.
All right, so this week John Hills did his talk, his success webinar on trading a single strategy. That should be up in the Education Center by now. Next week, we've got Robert Green from Green Trader Tax talking about trader tax status, Section 475 mark-to-market accounting, and all things important to U.S.-based traders on how taxes go. Very important if you're new to pay attention to this stuff if you're in the U.S. Some of these you need to know in advance of filing taxes and such. So tune into that webinar. Great resource. He writes for Forbes about this stuff. He does webinars for interactive brokers and a whole lot of other things. Also check out his site, greentradertax.com. for info. Dr. Katz discipline webinar is posted in the Psychology Center. Excellent webinar. I suggest everybody check that out as well, as discipline is a significant determinant of what makes a trader successful or not. Member trade of the day. It's Friday, guys, so no submissions for member trade of the day today, but this afternoon Mike will be checking from the top 4 this week, Monday through Thursday, that we picked. The winner of that will win a $100 gift card. Tune in next week for the next round. If you're watching us on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can do so at a discount. Use the promo code premarket24. That'll get you a discount off the normal $39 rate to try out a week, down to $24. That's for 7 calendar days, 5 trading days, unless there's a holiday. That includes Carlos's onboarding class each and every Monday night live at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's also recorded if you can't make that time. But what we always say is it's a great time to do it over the weekend. That way you can get the 7 days, check out the site for a couple of days, look in the room Monday, see how it goes, go to the onboarding class Monday night, and then have the entire rest of the week to participate in the room, having already gone through the onboarding class as well. No market close on Wall Street. That's a Monday through Thursday show, but Mike's our selection of the top trade of the week will be on YouTube later today.
All right, thank you, Norm, for that. With that said, guys, let's look at our trade of the day for yesterday. So this goes over to Charles. Charles had an amazing trade here on AMD. So just take a look how crazy this trade was. I mean, look at his entry here. I mean, he had picked a better entry there. I mean, look at that drop. Takes profits, is making new lows on here. I think he adds in here again, right? Goes in, he sees another opportunity for a breakdown, and then just look at this incredible play here. So congratulations, Charles. An amazing trade there on AMD. Great job, buddy. All right, guys, let's go over to our gappers list this morning. We have a bit on here. Let's just kind of run through it and see what we like so far. GRPN this morning, big gap up. Again, not doing all that much right now pre-market. We'll come back to this one. Z is looking okay, not great, but it's looking okay here. KNDI has a good range. Plug, I'm going to put down as a possible, guys. I'm going to move this down. D-Dog at the moment, I do like this one. I think it has some opportunity to trade well. FSLY, I like the way it's dropping here, so I'm going to go back and just remove some of these that are not looking all that great. Groupon, I'm going to remove. Z, I am going to, what do we have here? The spread's not great, guys, so I'm being a little bit picky now. It could do something here, maybe down as a possible. I'll remove T-Mobile because I know I personally do not like that one, the way it trades. So I'm going to remove C as a good possible. KNDI, guys, again, this one, it could be a hit or miss. We can have a beautiful breakout here when the volume comes in. It does trade heavily on volume sometimes when it is in play. So I think this could be a great possible today. If we can get to it, we'll do levels for it. But I am going to remove it from my main list this morning. Plug, you know how I feel about this one, guys. It could be so choppy and unpredictable. Reading the price action is very tough, but I am going to do levels for it even if I don't keep it on my list. D-Dog is good. FSLY is moving great right now. Hopefully it's not as wild as it was yesterday, and it gives us a good play here. All right, Uber's getting pretty nice here, guys. So I love Uber right now. Baba is looking good also. Nice big drop for it this morning. This week here is kind of messing things up a little bit, but it does have a good pre-market action. RKT here moving great. This recent IPO yesterday, so a recent IPO, but this IPO has been moving better than we've seen most. So pretty good here. This is Rocket Mortgage IPO yesterday. Facebook, big day yesterday. I'm going to move it down as possible. The Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, they all had a similar day yesterday. They all have a similar pre-market open so far. I think they all might be moving well together if they decide to pick a direction here. So I got Facebook, KNDI as a possible, Z as another possible as well. Look out for the spread on this one so far. I've seen some pretty nasty spread on it. I'm going to remove T-Mobile from my list, guys. It has a beautiful gap up. You know, they had earnings, so they can trade well. But again, I'm not a fan of how these communications company usually trade. AYX dropping nicely here, guys. Again, losing this level of 131, so I like this one. WKHS, I'm going to remove this one. BIBB, I'm on the fence. You know what? this is not looking too good. I'm going to get rid of this one. I can't have this many. VXRT, going to remove this one as possible. Dropbox, still not doing anything, still flat. Let's get rid of it. TWOO, this one, guys, is active. I think it's going to might move well today, but just be careful. The price action of this one is tough to read. I'm not going to keep it on here from my own personal watch list this morning. And American Airlines and the airlines, I think we need a lot from them. We need them to break out of here and not be as choppy as they were yesterday. So let's get rid of American Airlines right now. And the low flow of the day is not even looking all that great. CAPR, it's just not looking great. So let's get rid of it. All right, we got a better fine-tuned list here. Let's do some levels for it, guys. Plug is on here. I know a lot of members like this one. 1126 high of the pre-market right now. Towards the bottom, you do have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Again, yesterday, what did it do yesterday? So yesterday had a great pre-market, carried that into the market open. Look at the breakouts. As I mentioned earlier, the breakout of the high of the pre-market here. And you're going to see a lot of stocks do well when they do that. So this one had a beautiful breakout here, squeezed up nicely, and then held that for a bit there. So plug is good. Several levels on there, guys. Highs and lows, previous day close, all that's got you covered. D-Dog. So D-Dog, big drop here. What I like about it right now, we're holding on to an area that has been great support for this stock. So if you take a look here, guys, at around low of the pre-market 81.41. If you look at going back, you see several days bouncing around that area. So again, great area of support here after a few big drops, right? So you had a big drop here, that's where it found support. You had another big drop here, that's where it found support. Slightly above that, you have some other days too, right on here on 83, which is very close to the high of the pre-market. I might say 83.47 also got some good supports after some big drops as well. Then towards the top, guys, high of the pre-market is sitting slightly at 85.64. So let's mark that down. And you can see here the high of that's the high of after hours, which is exactly what I wanted to mark here anyways. This level here, guys, you can see the support on here. And this is the height of the after hours before the market closed, 85.64. It's pretty good area, guys. Nice level here as well. After big drops, you see that it has found support there also. And then towards the top, guys, you got plenty of levels here. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Previous day close, so you pretty much cover there. Towards the bottom, another great level here. Area of resistance around 78. This stock could move quite a bit, so 78 is not a far number to reach here if this thing decides to head down here. So that's what we have on D-Dog. Let's look at a FSLY again, getting a little bit of a bounce here. Be careful with this one. Be careful of your share size. This thing can move quite a bit. Look at the market open yesterday. We saw some pretty wild movement there. 88.55 high of the pre-market. Towards the top, we do have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Previous day close. We do have another level right up here at 98.50. Again, I don't think we'll reach that today. We had a pretty nice gap down yesterday here. So can we hold this 85.93, 86 level, or are we going to crash down from there? Towards the bottom, guys, great area of support, 78.70. You can see how much support we have had here over the last couple of 2 months or so. Again, just every day, you have some dips below here, but they come right back up and hold this 78.70, and they kind of have like a double bottom there before it went on this beautiful run, just green days all the way until we got this red day and then this incredible gap down. So the daily looks amazing on this one. We got some pretty good significant levels. The pre-market looks great. We got some good volume, down 3.5. I think this one is setting up nicely for some good opportunities. Uber, guys, big drop here, coming back a little bit here. So volume is starting to come in on this one. As far as levels, your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are creating some good levels around the price action. And look how they're landing up, right? If you look at the low from yesterday, you can see how that is an area of support for this stock. Look at the high from 2 days ago as well. You can see how that has become an area of resistance from yesterday, the highs and lows as well. Very close to areas of resistance on the daily if you look back here. I am going to mark down 34.23. You can see clearly there that's an area where you have some rejections happening. High of the pre-market, slightly below that, but that 34.23 is going to be the important area you want to look out for. Your low of your pre-market slightly below the lows and highs from the last 2 trading days at 33.04. So I'm going to mark that down. But again, you got plenty of levels within here already on Uber. So again, good volume right now, 764 and climbing. So that's going to make our pre-market action look a lot better. Let's see what that looks like at the open. open. So here's Baba, guys. I know right now you got the highs and lows above, the price action covering you towards the bottom, low of the pre-market at 255.83. Then below this, you do have a level right on here. Not the best daily chart, but you do have a level of support here at 249.15 on Baba. So, but I'm personally not going to watch Baba. I just want to do levels for you guys. I'm going to bring it down here as possible. Again, I do not like the way Baba trades, but I seen traders kill it completely on Baba. RKT is a recent IPO, so we're not going to have a lot of information on this one as far as levels, right? So you have your highs and lows from yesterday, which is their first IPO date, but in the 5-minute, you can see several levels on here. 1989, great area of resistance, right? Look how that played out nicely. How you wind up to that area, and then boom, you have the explosion there. That's real nice. Previous day close as well. In the pre-market this morning, you do have a level here at 23.72. Great area of resistance, same situation, then breaks out of that nicely for a beautiful run. And then you also have 24.63. You have some rejections happening here in the pre-market early on. We did break out of that. Is that going to now become support as we go over for another leg here? So again, trading very well. We usually do not watch IPOs, but this one has got some good volume behind it and traded well yesterday, and possible continuation today. All right, guys, that is what we have as a possible. We moved down Baba, we moved down Facebook, and with Facebook, keep in mind Apple, keep in mind Microsoft. They all have very similar movement yesterday. They could move together in that same direction if they decide to pick one. We have KNDI. We know this one was a former runner that has done that did very well, but again, you got to be very careful. Z also very active as well, guys. Nice drop here this morning. I'm concerned with the spread on this one. It keeps popping up almost 30 cents. So I'm going to take it off. I think that's going to create some unstable price action for us to read. So let's get rid of that one. And AYX, guys, again, I have this one on here. Big drop, down 23%. Let's do some levels for this one. This one could surprise us today. High of the pre-market 138, the low of the pre-market at 129. Now I'm going to keep this 131 in here because you saw there was some good support after hours yesterday and also pre-market this morning, so that could be a significant level for this. If we were to lose the level we have now at 129, 123.97 is a good one, and you also have a beautiful one down here at 118.52. All right, guys, let's head over to what our moderators are watching this morning. Let's see what their list looks like today. Here we have, let me bring this over. What do we have here? All right, here we go. So we have Eamon. He's watching Uber, KNDI, and SPAQ. He's also on his secondary list has JD, SLV. Mike is watching. This BHOD and BLOD. That's break of high of day and break of low of day, right? So he's watching that scanner. He's also watching Disney, Baba, and Microsoft. Peter also has Disney, AMD, Microsoft. As is possible, he has Facebook, Uber, AL, Z, T-Mobile, ANPC. Reminder that is a low flow stock. Tiffany's watching the room for any ideas that come up, and also the scanners as well. And just a reminder, in our room, we have an entire page. You could go over to whoever is presenting, do the drop down menu, and you can click on scanners, and you have the entire page of all the scanners that we're watching. On her secondary list, she has Uber and AMD. John is watching, looking out for half-day breakouts on the top watch list. He has Apple, Facebook, and Baba, but I know he has a great scanner he keeps an eye on. Thor this morning has AMD, CCL, Uber, and Z. Nice tight list there. Jared is watching RKT. Again, that's the new IPO, guys. And I have not seen recently, and Peter will know better, such a great IPO that we have seen so far. This one looks really good. So Norm, thank you for pointing that out. Andrew's list, he has AMD, RKT, AYX, Uber, Plug, and D-Dog. So that makes up our team's lineup this morning, guys. It is Friday, so with that said, make sure you guys have an amazing trading day today. Please be very careful on your trades. Be patient. It is Friday, so things can move a little bit different. There's also sometimes a loss of volume, so keep in mind, right? If you see things are not moving well, call it a day. Call it a day. Don't force anything. When things are moving slower, you have to be a little bit more patient. So be mindful of that, guys. So again, trade safe. You want to go into the weekend knowing that you did everything to follow your rules, that you did not break your rules. It's better to have a red day with following your rules than have a red day knowing that you broke every rule on your book. It just doesn't feel well for your trading conscience. So keep that in mind. Trade safe, guys. Have a great weekend. Spend it with family and friends, and we'll see you on Monday.
Trade safe, guys, and have a great weekend.